What's good with the YouTube? A convict's perspective, it's your boy Big Flacco. And I'm smashing, and I'm dashing, and I'm sliding on through with what? Whole lot of energy, man. Not a little bit, a whole lot of energy. So, as you can tell by the title, man, I'm doing this solo bolo right now because Rojo's attending some business. But I just got a news update, breaking news regarding Operation Quiet Storm, the Nuestra Familia indictment that occurred in September of 2021. As we all know, that's a major blow to the organization as far as the state faction. But right now, I got some new information regarding such. And this is all in public record. It's all in the media. So this is nothing new. But apparently, there's been some legal motions that have been filed. And right now, the main defendants, the main seven that were allegedly a part of the general counsel, as we know, DC, Chuco, Puppet, Conejo, all these said individuals have filed motions under cruel and unusual punishment over them being placed in solitary confinement. Some of the issues that are being brought up is that both Conejo and DC are in wheelchairs and they're having to be transferred in handcuffs. There's only one disabled cell and they're rotating Conejo and DC into that cell. In addition to that, right, the feds have countered in the motions that the judge doesn't dictate where these men are housed, that the U.S. Marshals do, and that other facilities like Santa Rita and so forth that they tried to house them had rejected these individuals being placed at their facility while accepting others that are involved in this case. So apparently this was the only location that they were being able to be housed. They're requesting that they can go to a state prison while they face these charges. And so it's a big issue, man. First and foremost, man, you got to accommodate anybody that has disabilities. Second of all, I'm a firm believer that nobody deserves to be put in solitary confinement. Regardless of the charges you have against you, the criminal acts, you're supposed to only be in solitary confinement for your disciplinary actions at said facility. So to be housed there, I agree with these gentlemen. They should be somewhere on the main line. You know, it's self-explicit. Whether I agree with the actions that they're involved in, that's a whole nother story. But that's my personal perspective on that, man. In addition to that, they've also filed motions, a Sixth Amendment violation, that several individuals, defendants, while being transferred en route to Moffett Field, gave unsighted interviews with staff with no counsel. You know, I don't know who. It says several defendants. So apparently when they're being transferred to Moffett Field to be flown out to Atwater, federal agents were trying to investigate, probe, and ask questions and interview these individuals. Which first and foremost, as we all know, they're not supposed to be given no interviews. So there's going to be some issues regarding that, man. So that's the other thing. And then there was another individual named Rocky, who was one of the very few defendants that was out on the streets when he got hemmed up. He filed a motion to be granted bail on pretrial terms. It was just denied. And the reason why they denied it is because the stem of the charges of selling cocaine, methamphetamine, and being a very key source out there for the NF. As we all know, getting federal bail is very difficult. It's very rare. And when people do get federal bail, there's always going to raise questions of whether that person's flipping or whatnot, because that's how the feds work it, man. They hardly ever let you out on federal bail, especially in a RICO case, man. You know, I can go back to when Pastor Rocha got indicted, Sir Dino, and he actually bailed out and didn't show up to his court case. And he'll confirm this story. We went out there and located him. And, you know what I mean? The homie that ended up going out there to meet up with him wanted to make sure that he didn't have a wire and all this stuff. They met up in the restaurant bathroom out there in Tracy. And so that's the severity of it. It's rare that they will give you bail. Once they got you on a federal case, it's a wrap. You know, and some of the other things that they were bringing up regarding this in the news was, you know, Salvador Castro, gangster, that he's already been tried already. So they're trying to go through a whole bunch of legal motions and stuff, right? And so right now what you're going to have over the next couple of years is a whole bunch of motions being filed on both sides. The legal strategies and technicalities on the federal side are a lot more complex than the state. And the feds, they're going to bring their best prosecutors, man. And these men are going to have also some good federal counsel that represents people in these cases, man. So it's going to be interesting, man. I mean, I'm just wondering what's the response going to be. You know, I get that the judge has no dictations or no authority to determine where these men are housed, but what is justifying solitary confinement? You know, and they've been doing that. It's kind of funny because they just slammed a whole bunch of people down, as we know. They pulled them off these main lines. They don't want them to walk on lower level yards, and it just seems that no matter what, you know what I mean, if they're trying to get ahead of this issue, the feds are. Therefore, they're creating abuses of authority, because you got to treat every other group the same way. And see, that's the problem that I see in all this, is that regardless of what the NF's involved in, the organizational business, the criminal activities, that's irrelevant. Why are you treating other groups secondary? Why are you letting these guys out there in the main line? Why are you letting these guys? Why are you pinpointing the NF? You know what I'm saying? You got to treat people all equally, all across the board. Because they're not doing this to other gentes. They're letting them out there in the yard. All these other groups and factions, you know, it doesn't make sense, especially in lieu of this what was it, the federal lockdown because of the MA and MS situation. I mean, they locked down every pinta. And in the process of that, they hem up the NF and put them in the hole. And its associates. So, you know, I don't know what the feds are thinking. I don't know what they're doing. But, you know, it's cases like this, man, like that, as a past soldado that put forth for the cause, these are things that are worth fighting for in some senses. So I kind of respect what they're doing because, you know, I was in the shoot for years. I mean, I went through the same torments and abuses and oppression, and we didn't have a voice before when it came to the system. You know, solitary confinement is supposed to be for disciplinary measures, not punishment. And that's what you're seeing here. Regardless if these men are involved in criminal organization activities, that's your job to catch them and do your homework. You know, you're trying to circumvent any type of activities. It's not going to stop any activities. If people are going to push force motion and do what they got to do, they're going to find some route to do it. You know, I really believe this, man, that if you give people more incentives and more opportunity to have like a normalized conditions, you're going to have a little bit less actions from these groups. There's going to be a lot less animosity towards the system. Therefore, there'll be a lot less violence. You know, these guys got to be pissed off. They went from being out there in the main line, doing what they want to do. Now they're not only in a solitary confinement cell, but they can't even have TVs here because they're not technically federal inmates. You know, and it's just kind of interesting that I found this case too, that Santa Rita, which, you know, gets a lot of money for housing these individuals, right? They did in the past during Operation Black Widow. This time they rejected even housing these men. I didn't know that. I thought that the feds figured that maybe Atwater would be a better location for them. That wasn't the case. They wanted to house them in Santa Rita. Santa Rita County Jail officials rejected to house them. Plain and simple. Right? And, you know, the situation with DC and Conejo, you know, being in a wheelchair, I mean, regardless, these men are old, man. A lot of them have dementia. They're going through their own personal life, man. You know, you can't put them in any worse of a situation than what they are today. You know, you got to still kind of have a little bit of acknowledgement and compassion for people who are elderly like that. You know what I mean? As much of a past of being killers and all that they have, you get to a certain point in life to where you're no longer effective. You know, and we know DC, he's already not effective. You know what I'm saying? Conejo's Conejo. You know, there's not much good I can say about him. You know, I don't know if he's trying to use his disabilities and his illness as a way to try to manipulate the system, you know. But we've known for a couple of years that DC pretty much has been suffering from dementia and other issues, man. The man's old, you know, so they got to house these people in appropriate housing areas, you know, because they're not going to last that much longer. You know what I mean? As for all these other individuals, it's kind of a complex matter, you know. I see the motions that they're filing for Sixth Amendment violations, but if these dudes were on an elite level and they were considered higher command, then they know better than to even be talking to agents like that. You know what I mean? They should be able to wiggle any type of interactions without suffering any type of consequences to whatever they said. Maybe there were some things that were said that they shouldn't have been said. I don't know. You know, there's a reason why they're trying to suppress those conversations, those interviews. you know. So we don't know, you know. I think we got to just pay attention to what's going to happen, and you know, it's an uphill legal battle. You know, I get it. You know, a lot of what I was reading in it, I get why they're doing it. I'd be doing the damn same thing, and I can't say it's wrong. You know, being in the hole, the solitary confinement, especially facing a case like this. Oh man, I couldn't imagine what these guys are going through. You know. So, anyways, this is a quick update. You know what I mean? I just wanted to run it because I just got this information. Maybe Rojo will do an interview, a video on it, or whatnot later on. We'll see. With that said, it's your boy Flacco. Have a good day.